Hello, hello, name's Annan. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Welcome back! How have you been doing? Today we are doing something that is very, very fun to me. I wish this were a separate game mode. It is. Kind of. Sort of. Not really. Today we're going to be playing a special modified run, i.e. it's going to be one of those runs where we start things off with 2 starter relics, the second of which is going to be Cursed, starter, run modifier relic, whatever you want to call the terminus, from outside of the game, i.e. you can only pick up to one of these in the lobby where you would assemble your builds and unlock items, etc. before actually heading into your run, meaning that if you were to randomize your run, you wouldn't know whether your choice was foolish or not until you get the gift of hindsight. That having been said, let's get right into it, shall we? Today's build is gonna be called Roll the Cards. A wordplay on the phrase roll the dice, referring to, I believe, getting lucky or just gambling generally. Just gambling for some kind of outcome, for some kind of chance. We're kind of gonna be doing that, except there are no dice in this game. Not a single die, in fact. But there are plenty of cards, and I think all the Arcana also count as cards. I mean, they kind of read like cards, and there is an artwork where the two wizards are playing a card game with the Arcana, or maybe assembling their builds. So I feel like that just works. I really like it a lot. I love that name. It's not a coherent build, but we will get to that in a second. Let's just continue in traditional order before actually getting to the run modifier, shall we? For our rope, we're going to be running Venture Rope. Very fun rope. You can pretty much run whatever you like here. I feel like Venture Rope is general purpose. It's just very, very good. You could run a Fury Rope or Rule Rope or heck, even a Spirit Robe, a Great Robe instead. Whatever you really want to. It doesn't really matter for the remainder of this video. The Venture Rope, however, the one that I'll be going for, reduces your max health by 40%. That's a whole lot, from 500 max HP initially down to an initial 300 max HP. But therefore, both increases our damage, run speed, and cooldown reduction by 10% respectively. So it's fantastic. It's sort of all-purpose, but more with a focus on making risky plays, going for a damage build over a defensive build, as you already are working with much less max HP than you otherwise would be. I'm going to be running this mainly for cooldown reduction, but also for a slight damage increase, in case I get to use Arcana that otherwise wouldn't work all that well, Arcana that I maybe want to get rid of, or I want to massively amplify the damage that they deal, or at least slightly amplify the damage that they deal, because otherwise they would just not be worth using at all. Wink wink, that's already a hint towards our starter relic, but let's move on for now. However, whatever rope you pick, just make sure that you can upgrade it. The rope that I picked here, the Venture Rope, is just the base level of the rope is very strong. The stat increases that it gathers you are very, very good. However, other ropes have significantly better upgrades than this one. It's just a mild plus 5% on all of these boosts, not affecting the health loss here and total max HP. So maybe a Fury Rope or Rule Rope or an All Robe, Shift Rope are better offensive options here. I personally just like the Venture Rope. I don't really, generally speaking, like upgrading my robe anyway. It's just a massive resource sink that I would prefer to avoid. So I'm going to be running the Venture Rope. If you can follow that reasoning, if you agree with me, go ahead and follow, join the Venture Rope Club or whatever the hell. But let's move on swiftly with the build, shall we? Now, for our starting relic, I really just had to make sure to look up the category. I kind of forgot. It's a miscellaneous item, one that I really like using a lot, but I haven't used a lot lately. It's the Nocturnal Sundial, which looks quite neat. Looks like an epic ancient relic or something, which adds a chance that an Arcana will not go on cooldown after use. 20% chance, that's a 1 in 5. For an Arcana to instantly gain 100% cooldown reduction, if you will, or just not even go on cooldown. Rather, which is fine. I like that a lot. 1 in 5, you start off with 4 starter relics. Sorry, 4 starting Arcana, usually starting abilities. Sometimes you can even get more quite quickly, so technically that's 1 out of your imaginative 5 starting abilities being reset consistently, which is nice. I like that a lot. It's very fun, and it works very well with our second starter relic. But let's swiftly move on, not be irritated by any of that, and actually get to the abilities here. Something not very interesting at all for this build. I just slapped together a bunch of abilities. You can do whatever you want here. I strongly recommend Chaos abilities, as they are upgraded right out of the gates. They are enhanced, can't be unenhanced, and can't be enhanced further, so items like a luxury handbag work fantastic with these. But the important part here, the crucial part, is that you pick Chaos, not regular abilities. Just all Chaos. The composition there doesn't matter at all, so I decided to go for the Phantom crew, I suppose, the Phantom series of Arcana, going for the Phantom Division as my basic, which launches forth twice a rogue fighting for you, a Phantom rogue, like so. It's kind of weak, to be honest, but yeah, it works for the purpose of this build, being a Chaos Arcana and kind of sticking with a theme here, so everything looks neat and well put together, even though that's only on the very surface. For our dash, we're going to be using the Phantom Order dash, which leaves behind 2 summoners. No, not summoners. What are they called again? I suppose they're called wizards as well. 2 wizards or 2 mages fighting for you, casting their fireballs, which is neat. That's a whole lot better than the basic, and on a very short cooldown, as you can tell. When you get this with a Nocturnal Sundial or other dash resets, it becomes quite a menace to deal with very quickly. This is not charged based, however, as you can tell by down there next to my dash, I can not actually a 1 visible or a 2 visible, an index, an indicator for the number of counters, the number of usages that you got left on this, the number of charges rather. So you can't actually give this a lot of charges, but Nocturnal Sundial in particular is going to be very, very useful when trying to just keep casting this over and over and over again. The initial cooldown is a little lengthy, but with a little bit of extra cooldown reduction and a little bit of luck from the Nocturnal, that should really not be an issue. This can actually function as a very good damage tool, as a very nice crowd control tool. The only disadvantage is, say there's a large group of enemies in front of you coming your way, you would have to dash through them to push them away from you, and then, you know, you already find yourself behind them again, and your summons now push the enemies back into you, so they kind of don't fulfill a defensive purpose, but more a very offensive purpose. Being very close to a single target, having it pinned into a wall, for example, is very helpful when using this. Look at that damage. That's a dash, by the way, 54 total. I know it's still worse than Spike Track technically, but Spike Track is a line-based skill shot and therefore can't hit as many enemies. It's not as flexible. It may be slightly easier to hit, but let's be fair, this is quite difficult to miss as well. But it's also quite difficult to maximize the damage output off. Either way, it's a neat dash. I do like that a lot, unlike our basic, which I think is just terrible and very unfun to use. Moving on to our standard though. Our standard is going to be Phantom Squadron. Now you can pick any of the Phantoms here, like Phantom Company or Phantom Guild, even though Phantom... Is Phantom Company an option? I'm not sure. I think it is. Yeah, it is. It is an option. So you can pick any of these 3, whether you prefer having a bunch of Lancers, Archers, or Summoners fight for you. I do actually like the other 2 a lot, especially the Rangers. I feel like the Archers are very, very fun to use, but we're going to be using, for the sake of it, Phantom Squadron, which I believe is very, very good in the Chaos Trials, actually. While I do love using the Archers, I have to admit they're just good for single target damage, and single target is not really what you're looking for when playing Chaos Trials. It's more about the room clear than the boss clear. There are, after all, not that many bosses, and the bosses are usually quite far away from you, so you have ample time to prepare a decent build to slay them. Now, you cast a bunch of Lances fighting for you. They will stomp on your enemies very viciously in rather large circles around the place. And you get 4 of them! Unlike the other 2 abilities, not just 2, or 1 technically, as with the basic, per cast. It's 4! Getting this with a Nocturnal Sundial proc is neat. It's just very fun. It stomachs enemies into submission. It doesn't really deal a lot of damage. It has a rather long cooldown. Considering what it does, it can hit an entire room very effectively, but also, as you can tell, it scatters enemies around, and it's kind of unreliable as to where these are gonna jump. Certain enemies may remain entirely unharmed by this, or entirely unstun locked rather. So it's, in terms of control, it's not very good. And one thing that I haven't mentioned so far, unlike the other two abilities, this is a phantom ability that only ever works when there are enemies nearby in the first place. When I cast it here, for example, all of them will despawn immediately as they cannot detect any enemies remotely close enough. Yep. So that's just an 8-second, or looks like a 7 to 8-second wait for nothing. Literally just entirely wasted. And of course, that's when I got my Sundial proc. That is a little frustrating. Come on. Come on, give me that Sundial proc. I just want to show off how a lot of these can escalate very quickly. And even as single target damage tool, these are quite decent. Not great by any margin, but very fun to use. I love watching them just hop around and pick apart all my enemies. It's just such fun. Similarly to the other two abilities, this Phantom ability doesn't count as neither projectile, nor melee, nor buff, nor whatever else. It's not a summon either, surprisingly enough. It would be very overpowered as a summon, because then you can easily enhance its capabilities using books, and everybody knows that summons can be enhanced with the snap of a finger. It's so freaking ridiculously simple making summons strong. So let's swiftly move on and forget about that. To our final part here after this build is going to be our signature, the Phantom Brigade, the final Phantom spell. This is easily my favorite. It's such fun. You spawn 5 knights of different elements, different colors. Very, very fun. And these knights then fight for you, dashing through the room and targeting enemies. So we go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 5. Ain't that just such fun? Just look at it. Okay, actually I was lying. In this case, they are not of different elements. I kind of forget about that part. I think the last time I played this build was with the Pile of 5 Fruits or something, where I actually did have colored knights at least. Not sure whether they were of an element, but they looked colored. Not sure though. I really don't play with these a lot. So, pardon about that mistake on my behalf. It's just such fun. It deals pretty okay damage, and it's very reliable. Similarly to our stunner, it disappears entirely when there are no enemies remotely nearby, or when they are simply too far away. I believe this is already too far of a distance, so that they will just despawn. Exactly. You have to be rather close to all your enemies. This is, after all, not a ranged ability. It is technically melee. You have to be very close for this to kick into effect and highlight any enemies, any targets permanently. So, very, very fun. Very reliable. Again, scatters enemy around, though slightly more reliable than the standard here, for sure, but also slightly less effective at stun locking enemies, as these knights have a lot of downtime, I feel, whereas the lancers just... yeah, they just keep jumping. They don't care, they are merciless. And the knights, the dash in between attacks seems to be a little too long, giving enemies ample time to react and maybe cast a bunch of projectiles and stuff. So, not a huge fan of this one, but it is very fun, and it's quite iconic for this game. It's very fun. The first time you find it especially, it's just such a cool Arcana. It has aimbot, so in PvP, all of these are incredibly overpowered. They cannot miss, they always hit, they cannot be dealt with, they cannot be stunned, like a summon, for example, or interrupted, unless you get some kind of iframe enhancement, like a permafrost bulwark or an airborne slam. They're just incredibly overpowered in PvP, and rightfully banned everywhere. Surely, they have to be. Yeah, but that's the Phantom crew, the Phantom team here at our disposal, and we're just gonna be spamming a whole bunch of them like so. Thanks to the Sundial, it gets absolutely chaotic, especially sound-wise. I can barely hear anything at this point where I just keep spamming. I can't even hear myself talking, it's so freaking loud. They do generate a lot of signature, and when you ever, somehow, if you ever, somehow, were to manage actually achieving a full signature bar, your signature Phantom Brigade would look like so. Oh, now they are elementals. Oh, I kind of forgot about that part. This is so cool. One of the coolest signatures in the game. I really love it. I just admire it. It's so cool. These elemental knights, or the regular chaos knights, become elemental knights, applying their respective elemental effect, of which freeze and poison are probably the strongest here. Maybe slow as well. I think slow could be very impactful with this build, but we are not going to be running this build. Now you might ask me, what? Then why would you explain all this crap? Well, just for fun, honestly. I just really like the Phantom team, but you don't really have to know what they do, as we do not intend to run them for a whole lot here. In fact, we are going to switch these out pretty darn quickly into the run, as you will find out for yourself. For our starting relic, of course, we are going to be running Aberrant deck. One of the coolest relics to ever see the light of day. It's so freaking good. Aberrant deck. Arcana expire after a few activations and are randomly replaced with a new one. Now, this has a few interior sort of mechanics to it. For example, it has kind of a shitty interaction when you command this with safety scissors, but you can go find that out for yourself. We are just gonna be spamming our Arcana a whole lot and then getting a whole bunch new Arcana. So the goal of this run is going to be just cycling through a shitload of Arcana. Obviously, naturally, it's in the nature of your dash, for example, that dashes aren't exactly replaceable easily. You just don't use them a lot. You have to use them like 4 or 5 times for the Arcana to be swapped out. Generally speaking, just statistically or from experience speaking, you have to use these abilities quite a lot. And dashes, generally speaking, are not going to be used a ton. Yes, you use them pretty much all the time, but they have a rather long cooldown considering how often you dash around, and you just don't dash around non-stop during rooms either. They will rotate quite a bunch, but not a whole lot. Whereas your standard and your signature are typically spells that you just spam out non-stop. They are your main damage tools often, so these will rotate a shitload, and these are the most interesting ones anyway. And then your basic finally is going to rotate every now and so on as well, but usually this doesn't affect you too harshly, except in the early game where sometimes you really have to rely on your signature. So, just rotate a bunch, reduce their cooldown so we can rotate even more. I think it's simple as that. Let's move on to the build specific, shall we? Starting things off, of course, with the intended build playstyle. A very, very spicy section here today, because how am I gonna explain this, right? How do you expect me to come up with a playstyle when everything you do is randomized to a certain extent? Well, you start things off with Chaos Arcana, which are enhanced. Meaning, first and foremost, you're gonna only be seeing enhanced abilities. Otherwise, this could actually be a proper challenge. But with all abilities that you receive, granted they are entirely random, being enhanced already, you can adapt quite quickly. You can learn to not take so much damage, you can learn to use a bunch of different abilities, maybe grow to like a bunch of abilities that you've never used before. And the playstyle here is gonna be just simply be defensive when you got something that's new to you, or that you're not very used to, that you don't like a whole lot, that you're not very good at using. Something like a Sonic Breaker maybe, that would be a fitting Arcana for me that I'm very much not used to, very much not confident using, generally speaking, especially against a boss, for example, or a mini-boss, or in very tight, crowded rooms. Just be defensive and be conservative with the use of abilities. If you have an ability that you really want to get rid of that really sucks, just spam it a whole lot. You don't even have to be inside of a room for that to cycle out eventually, but you should. Let's be honest, just try and utilize its damage. Every ability in this game has some kind of purpose. There are a handful of abilities that are so atrocious that they suck in any given situation, but even those can be used at least at the very bottom of the baseline for a tiny bit of extra DPS output or survivability. Usually it's DPS output, because defensive abilities, generally speaking, are at least of some use, even the worst of the bunch. But think something like a shock line, for example. Those abilities, or abilities themed around that theme, are typically horrendous. They do nothing at all, and you can even have sometimes certain items that entirely negate the effect. So just try to get rid of them. Try to get accustomed to certain other abilities that you've maybe never used before, but you kind of are starting to grow fond of. Like, there are so many things that go on with this build, because you can't choose what you're running. Ultimately, you can only choose how you intend to use these abilities, and more often than not, an ability can only be used in one, maybe two ways. They are not very versatile, generally speaking. So just get rid of it, chug it in for a quick amount of damage, chug it in for that crowd control, that status effect, even if it may not do any damage, even if it may not connect perfectly. Just chug it in and toss it away. Just grab a new one. Maybe the next one will be better. Whereas abilities like Explosive Fireball, Bolt Claymore, like Jumps, Permafrost Bulwark, generally the best of the best, the creme de la creme of signatures and standards you would like to keep and not just keep spamming, but sometimes you just have to use them, or sometimes you don't want to burst down or slowly whittle down the HP bar of a very beefy enemy with your basic, for example. That would take forever. You might end up cycling through 3 different basics for the same enemy, for like a stomper, late game stomper, for example, if your damage is very lackluster. Just use that Explosive Fireball. Okay, this is not about preservation, it's about having fun, getting to know new things, and just embracing total mayhem, total chaos, and the total lack and loss of control. I do like that a lot. Now, that also means that you have to be even more defensive than usual if you actually draw a shit hand, so to speak. If it's just Arcana that you really are not comfortable using, they really have low damage, they're really hard to use, and you are stage 3 in a boss fight, yeah, you're kind of fucked, and you might just end up dying, so be very controversial. Again, I said it again, be very conservative with their use, dodge abilities, don't attack while enemies are attacking you, just be slow, play slowly, do it the right way, do it the proper way, dodge properly, and then attack when you see a window of opportunity, not while enemies are coming at you. Especially not with abilities that you don't know well. I feel like mentioning this. So, other than that, if you get abilities that you are especially used to, obviously play whatever you feel like, play very aggressively in my case, or I don't know, push people around into pits if you're not very much used to the ability. Just do whatever, really, that's the playstyle. There's not exactly a playstyle. Let's move on to potential problems. Potential problems include the complete loss of all damage during a boss fight, the complete loss of a decent build of decent Arcana, the complete prerequisite of having to be quite lucky when your item build, your relic build is terrible, starting at, I'd say, floor 3. If you get really unlucky with your item build, and additionally get quite unlucky with your Arcana stage 3 going forward, you're kind of screwed. Considering that you start on 300 max HP, you don't exactly have a huge window for taking damage, and so you're running a double trouble build, and all of a sudden you get crappy abilities that you can't really make use of. They are short range, long cooldown abilities. Like, yeah, you're kind of fucked. I'm sorry, your run might just end right there. This is, after all about fun. It's not about playing perfectly and being super safe and just attacking when we need to. I like playing aggressively, I like being a dumbass, I like simply having fun and living out my own playstyle. As terrible and unsafe and stupid as it may be, I just like doing that. So that might just happen. There might just be occasionally a run ender right away, but generally that's not the issue at hand. The issue at hand, I'd say, is when you have a bunch of melee range stuff and you are in the Frost Dungeon, for example. Or you have a bunch of single target hit abilities, and you're in the Wind Dungeon and enemies just evade the hit right away, straight up, and stunlock you into submission. Or you have a bunch of melee stuff in the Fire Dungeon, and enemies just burst you down, and you have to move your way through traps that you're not comfortable with, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of things that can happen. Oh, another good one. Projectile build in the Earth Dungeon. Oh my god. Terrible, so terrible. Or a stunlock type of build, projectiles, of course, like roots and stuns and shock, and you're in the Earth Dungeon. What do? First of all, roots, stuns, and shock. That already sounds like you get an Earth or a Lightning build or a mixed build, so disadvantage there in terms of damage dealt, but also in terms of the enemies you gotta fight. They can reflect the projectiles back at you, stunlocking yourself, knocking yourself out quite literally, just getting yourself killed right away with your own projectiles. So these situations can arise. It's chaotic. It's fun, in my opinion, but it is chaotic after all. You can't control every given situation, so don't blame yourself. It's not always your fault. And you don't have to play perfectly well and safe all the time. You're allowed to have fun in this game. You're allowed to die. It can actually be a positive thing unless you're very new to the game, in which case you should probably improve on improving first. Focus on improving first, what I meant to say. So, I don't exactly see any potential problems here, any direct problems, except maybe when you run this build, but it's not all Chaos Arcana at the very start, because then the abilities you get will not be enhanced, and you will have to enhance them manually, and that can be a hassle, and some abilities in this game, a lot of them in fact, are absolutely horrendous when unenhanced. Trust me, like a Terror Ring, for example, otherwise very, very fun ability, is just so atrociously terrible when unenhanced. I would never ever use it. It's fun to watch, but it's certainly not very good to use. Even though some unenhanced abilities are actually slightly better than the enhancement, or they work slightly different and are therefore easier to use or more usable for other types of circumstances or situations. Generally speaking, the vast majority of abilities is simply much better off when enhanced, and that's what we're going to be going for. I'm not sure whether or not we can actually rotate from chaos to chaos or from a regular ability to chaos. I would assume so. In a regular run, it's not possible. Pre-first loop, the second you start looping, you can actually find chaos abilities, but pre-first loop, you can never, ever find these cursed abilities or chaos abilities. I'm kind of hoping for that a little bit, because generally speaking, chaos abilities are incredibly strong, damage-wise, utility-wise, and they can carry your ass. Even projectile destruction-wise, yeah, quite nice. So for rooms and for bosses alike, very fun. I hope we can find something like Disintegration Beam or like Astral Dissonance or something like that. That'd be fantastic. Or eventually we might even, technically, it's not impossible, right? Technically, assuming that we can rotate back into Chaos Arcana, to wind up with this starter build at some point. Give it an infinite amount of time, and eventually you will end up with this starter build again. So, enough rambling, let's move on to our final section. Recommended items in Arcana. In terms of Arcana, just grab anything that's enhanced. You're not going to keep it for long. Grab something cheap, first of all. So nothing with like 175 gold plus. That is ridiculous. Don't pay that amount of Mula for potentially, I don't know, an evading Zephyr or something like that. Like that you literally can't use in a given situation, or that just will fade away without having a huge impact on your gameplay, like a shock wire or whatever the hell. Just don't do it. It's a waste of money. Just pay, like, I'd say 150G max for an enhanced Arcana and you're good to go. Considering that the bosses drop you enhanced Arcana rather frequently, rather often, rather reliably even so, you probably won't have to buy any Arcana in the first place, unless you're very, very bad off with your run and you feel like things are going very poorly. Just get extra Arcana so you have an extra chance to draw something much better out of the large pool of Arcana in this game. Again, something like the aforementioned Exploding Fireball, or even a Zephyr, or Fueled Berserk for that matter. Strongly depends on RNG after all, and the more abilities you have, the larger your sample size, the larger the likeliness that you will actually end up finding something that somewhat synergizes with your build or synergizes with whatever you need in a given situation. In terms of items, I'd say more cooldown reduction is fun, but I'd probably prefer just generalist items. Items that enhance everything you do, not just melee abilities, not just projectiles, but both. Defensive items are fantastic for that. Limited edition rep, for example, is great. Stygian Turtle Shell, Kasim's Airy Claw, they're just so impactful. Extra damage ups that enhance all of your damage dealt, like the Golden Saber, for example, or the Luxury Handbag, which is fantastic, if you can actually somehow find that. I would strongly recommend not picking up the one cursed item that unenhances all your relics, or your Arcana, for the aforementioned reasons, as you really don't want to see certain unenhanced abilities. I would strongly recommend not trying to rely on fortune cookies for your enhancements and similar shenanigans like greased boots, for example. Like, it works to a certain extent, but it's just worse than straight up running a full chaos build and never unenhancing any of your abilities. That's just so much more reliable, and not to mention much cheaper. You do not need to invest into any items. You do not need to invest into any Arcana enhancements or upgrades or whatever the hell. You just got everything for free right away. If that's too easy for you, okay, go ahead. Just randomize your build altogether. But for this particular run today, for this show off, this first ever, we just got to stick with the initial build ID here. Other than that, I can't really think of any particular individual items. Just anything that doesn't lower your power level overall, but gains you something, whether it be extra healing, extra cooldown reduction, extra damage, extra crit chance, which is technically also a damage increase rate, or just maybe extra survivability with like a frost stone, for example, or whimsical explodium, a special snowflake. Those are generalist items that work in any given build, and they're definitely gonna do the job for you. Keep in mind that you might even end up finding up, that you might even end up finding some summon-related abilities. They are not uncommon by any means. Every single element has got like 3 or 4 of them, with the wards, the seekers, the agents, and so on and so forth. So even books are not terrible per se, just I definitely would not focus on that all the way. Just get a little bit of everything, all the general stuff, and you should be good to go. With all that out of the way, I'd say let's get into today's run. I can't really think of anyone I would like to avoid. Maybe you got any suggestions? Living courtyards. Fine. I don't like poison a whole lot. I don't like my projectiles being reflected back at me. Let's just make sure we got everything. Yes, we do, in fact. So, let's start. Earth, wind, ice. Alright. That's fun. I love earth. I love ice. I hate wind. Both the dungeon and the boss. I'm not spamming any abilities just yet, as I don't feel the need to get rid of anything. Oh, it's gonna be a bit of a bummer getting rid of these obstacles here, because I love using my basic for that, even though I should probably just walk right through. Not gonna be using my signature just yet. Oh, I can feel that basic already vanishing. It's depleting. It's on a cooldown. It's on a countdown. I can feel it. Okay. Signature. Standard. Basic. Basic. Always gotta pay attention to that bar of abilities down there. Okay, Bouncing Blaze. One of the many abilities that is like 10-fold stronger when enhanced, but horrible when unenhanced. Oh, Sundial is gonna be complete chaos. I love this. Got nothing new yet, but it can't be long. I'm gonna call our standard is probably gonna rotate next. Maybe our dash, actually. I don't know yet. We'll see. This is quite an empty site of this dungeon, not gonna lie. Can we find some people in here? Feeling kinda lonely over here. Okay. Come on, you guys. Oh no, we rotated through both of them. Okay, Shock Assault and Shock... Is it called Shock Wire? Iron Spike. Alright, I'm not very good with the Lightning Arcana names. They're just so similar to me. Blades. Okay. Fine by me, those are still pretty darn good. That's a trap room, so let's try and bait. Lariat. Okay, let's swap the dash. Not yet. I keep making the call, but it just won't happen. Okay, Frost Fiend. Fiend? Feint? I always forget. I think it's Feint, actually. Thunder Drop. Cool, no mimic. That's great. Fantastic. Okay. Okay. Ooh, these are dirt cheap. I didn't know it would make everything so cheap. I could grab Syrian Crown, but I don't really care, I don't think. Let me check something quick. Okay. No, we should be fine. We should be fine. Forgot about the Thunder Drop. Couldn't cover the distance. Mortal Coil. Cool. Voltaic Needle, that's very good. Even though we are still in Earth Dungeon, nonetheless, this is very powerful. Let's quickly look for them. Actually, no, we're not gonna find one in time as there's only the TP left. We might get a Robe upgrade here. Yeah, let's do it. We got the money, we got nothing else to spend it on. I think Electrifying Smog is generally very, very good. Extra water damage would be a little bit too specific. Extra ice damage even more specific. So Electrifying is an easy pick, and then probably Narrowed Shell to slow enemies down to make certain abilities much more useful. I do like that idea as well. It's not gonna be very high impact by any means, but it won't have to be. Try and hit the Thief. Focus on the important targets as long as we get rather high damage. Enhanced Flame Strike, that means I can destroy projectiles. No! I tried comboing, I missed it. I missed the Mortal Coil. Okay. Do we heal? Do we grab an ability? I don't think I want to. I think I want to keep my money. 170 HP already. That's quite low. Venture is quite risky, after all. Oh, rough room. I think we engage with Salvo. Probably like so to check for Mimic. Like so to destroy. Oh, no, we can't reach. Okay, just wait. Just clear one side. Salvo. Kill him through the statue, and we are good to go. Okay, that's unenhanced, so we can trade that away at some point. It's also a jump. We don't even have to use it right away. We can just keep it. Oh yeah, I can just keep spamming this. I love scales. It's so freaking good. And so stupid with a Nocturnal Sundial. I've never even tried that before. Never seen that synergy. I gotta keep memorizing what Arcana is in what slot. Let's do this and engage. Okay, we can wait on the wavefront. We can wait for the wavefront. Oh my god. Screwing up the talking, it makes things even more difficult in my brain. Okay, air spinner. That's cool. Obsidian Cascade. I don't think I'm really lacking anything right now. I would love to keep the missiles, but that's an utopian imagination. Roots of Celerity. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Extra healing parts? Probably not either. Sparkling Sprite. Sorry, Sparking Sprite. It's not sparkling. It's not of the water element? What? Okay. Missiles gotta go, I guess. Okay. Just try and wavefront. I missed the barrels. Shoot. Barrels. Cool. Okay, I might be able to do this, I'm not sure. Okay, cool. Zephyr! Lots of extra movement speed. Let's return to spawn. Jump into the hole. Thank you. What an absolute chaos in my brain. You can't even imagine how hard it is to track these Arcana. What is where? Nobody knows. Only God knows. I constantly have to look down to even remotely keep track of it. And I'm not doing so well, trust me. Okay. Sprite. Yeah, we'll grab it. I think it makes perfect sense. Okay, we replaced our jump with an enhanced version of it. Okay, we will be receiving a little bit of healing here, so don't have to worry about bone healing part. Okay, let's try and keep track of this mayhem. Just pop the shield before engaging, probably. Let's go Raging Inferno for now. What the hell was that? Seek us. Seek us. Jump. Raging. No, no, that's the wrong button. I missed it. That's the wrong button. Okay, I'm just pressing all the wrong buttons. I meant to go Inferno Beam. Cool. Who cares? Actually, yeah, this is slightly better, so we'll keep it for now. Oh, mamma mia. Okay, Inferno Beam, eh? Shit. I am very much uncomfortable with this choice of abilities. Especially the order, it's so confusing. Because I usually have them in my custom order. Oh my god, we can go full RNG with the Noxus Cloak. Thank you, but no, I don't think I will. Low note, no. Golden armor? Yeah, sure, that seems very useful. Alchemist as well. Seems pretty good, but I would much prefer a little bit of safety, so the armor is easily the way to go. Okay, one of the most useless abilities in this game has just entered the room. Fire breath. Oopsie daisy do. Okay. Try to not die. Begin now. I just need to find green and then I can grab the armor and healing pot. Okay. RB, 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 RB. Oop. drill, ball, circuit. Cool. Just need green. Always watching the best abilities right now. Easily being the Explosive Fireball and Dragon Circuit. As well as the Aegis as a backup plan when I actually need some help not entering that trap room. When I actually need a little bit of survivability. Okay, there we go, we made it. Ooh, Kasim's, that is certainly worth it. That would have been very much overpriced. Other than that, Thesis isn't super impactful, but I think I might want it. It's a lot of extra defense after all, but I'm already at 2-1, so maybe not. Maybe I'll just grab a healing part, head back to Nox, and grab my armor. Shouldn't spam the Frostwing dash. It's very, very powerful for cleanup and crowd control. I should, however, absolutely spam Obsidian Axe. Okay, we got a new dash. Oh shit! Didn't see that. Pillar in the way. Ooh, Dragon Circuit is so freaking good. Too bad we're gonna replace it soon. Okay, let's do it. Think I'm ready. Abort the Sonic Breaker. Cancel. Oh shit. Fuck's sake, dude. Just hit him from afar. Gotta watch my stuff. Jump in place. Okay, make sure we won't allow ourselves to fuck up here, as that is very easily done. Okay, we still have the trap room over there, which I believe I haven't full cleared, so let's get in there real quick. I can just hold it for as long as I got Field Berserk. Now, Field Berserk is the first ability that is very much worth keeping until the very end of the run. Oh boy, I really want to get rid of that Sonic Breaker. I'll just do it now. I hate that ability. I think it doesn't deserve a right to exist. Oh. Supply crate coming a little late. But another Sprite I will gladly pick up, yeah. Blazing Onslaught, that is much better. Oh boy. It's getting kind of hot managing my projectile destruction right now. Also kind of hot not using that Field Berserk right away. Oh, we got Mirror, that's a full heal. Okay. It's kind of a rough room, let's try to keep the enemies occupied. I like keeping open my defensive options as well as my very high boss damage options, like Field Berserk. Use the shields. Oh, that's very good. Okay, we got the axes, the tomahawk. I don't think I'll be able to signature. Pop the agent before proccing the room. Let's not pick up the mirror just yet. Dance circles around these fools. Try and get rid of Tomahawk, it's kind of clunky to use. Just use the cover we got. I know it's not much, but we gotta try. Make some more room for us, so we got more cover. Keep our projectile destruction. Shit, that was the wrong button. Okay. We'll keep the mirror there. for whenever we're gonna need it. It's gonna happen, and never we. I'll just waste the signature here, it's fine. Wrong button. Okay, heroic place. Man, this is so intense. I love it. Okay, Frostblade. Gotta watch out because freeze is not gonna hold for long with all these sprites breaking freeze frequently. Okay, our signature isn't super powerful right now. I would not like to upgrade my heroic place. I'm not sure we can actually find Dr. Song, but if we are able to, it's just much better not upgrading anything right here. In my opinion. Okay, heroic place. Frozen bait. Let's throw a bait. Throw another bait. Oh, hold on. Okay, we just proc Kasims. I heard that. So no Kasims for this room, but we shouldn't need one. Get into the corner, then use the boomerangs. As it's more of a diagonal skill shot, we will be in a position that's quite advantageous in the corner, whereas from a wall we won't, and it's a lot harder to hit that way on a controller. Boomerang and basic. Basic, by time. Also let our sprites do a little bit of work occasionally. Okay, we got the hand. Can't think of the name. Knockout Fist? Okay, just kill them by KO. I do prefer that method. Wind Flurry is very hard to use in a boss fight. Dr. Song I can use right now because I'm gonna pick up a mirror anyway, but... yeah, I'll just do it. Just considering whether to keep that Arcana for the fight. Catalytic Tonic for extra crit heals. That seems okay. Okay, I get Heroic Blaze anyway, the upgrade. Dr. Song is the only NPC worth trading Arcana with, so I can pick this up. I should probably buy the sprite here right away, so we got, what, 2 or 3? 2, currently. I don't need supply crate, everything's much too expensive anyway. Try and Wind Salvo, cancel it. Then do this, cancel it. Wind Salvo, cancel it. Wind Salvo, cancel it. Astral. Perfect. Okay. Chaos Crusher is very, very good. And then I think we move on. Actually, we can grab the mirror. I don't think it's super beneficial as you cannot sell it. And it only enhances your abilities when you're full HP. Which, well, my abilities are already enhanced in the first place. So, Idealist Mirror, unfortunately, very bad timing from your part. Maybe I can make use of you somehow. I don't think Mimic consumes you. I think Mimic drops you and therefore destroys you. I'm not sure though. Maybe it does consume it. So if I somehow manage to find a corrupting Mimic, is it called that? Or is it a adorable? It's an adorable Mimic. Of course. How could I forget? If I somehow manage to find a adorable Mimic, that's gonna be quite impactful. Potentially. Okay, let's actually use our Field Berserk here. I feel like not playing around with Shu a whole lot. Try to take advantage of our sweet Arc Frames. Oh shit, got caught up in it. That's okay. Chakrams while I'm still close by, and then pop the Seekers, and we should be good to go. Okay, that is very nice. I love seeing that. Very, very strong spell. Most of my spells right now are kind of as, not gonna lie, so I'd like to see a good one here. Thor's Hammer. No clue what it's actually called. Is it called Cleaving Hammer? Radiant Knockout. Yeah, it's not even close. Not even remotely. And another part of the Idealist's kit, unfortunately, they do not combine. Even if they did, it'd be quite terrible. So, Back's Escape Key for 300. That's a guaranteed revive with potential for more revives. Not sure I want that. Maybe just the extra armor from the Yuffie's Shawl. Okay, try and work around the corner here. I forgot that the vines actually get stuck. Again, try and work around the corner. Cancel them. And then we should be good to go. We have a lot of crowd control right now, like very utility, weird abilities. I don't even know how to put this into words. Just weird abilities that you can control people with, but in very odd ways, like rooting them in place or moving them around in inconspicuous ways. Okay, let's do this. Place the ward. Null Parade to get rid of the summon. Hammer to get rid of the knights. Null Parade, because I got it. Great timing on that. Basic, 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 basic. Okay. It's so hard to pay attention to all these Arcana. Okay. Wasn't aware that I could do that, but I did see the ward. Okay, let's ward. Null Parade. Hammer. Rang. Oh, sorry, that was Null Parade. Null Parade, and it should be gun 2. Okay. Meteor. It's kind of hard to hit. Let's focus on the abilities. We'll walk away for the duration while I don't know what I got. I'll just boomerang you. Okay, Thunderdrop. Bye bye me. That bolt rail might vanish pretty soon too. Shouldn't get too accustomed to having it. And we found the TP. Okay. Where do we head next? That chest I know for sure is a trap room, and it's not an easy one. Not sure common is gonna do very well. I don't think it's gonna perform well at all, I don't think. Okay. And since a basic Arcana swap is coming pretty soon, I will just not head in there until I know what I'll be getting, or maybe I will actually. Because I got pretty good clear for tight corridor, thanks to Inferno Cannon. Frost Scimitar, I don't think I want anything unenhanced right now, thank you very much. I'm pretty good to go. Oh, we got Bolt Rail again, so you can roll into the same thing twice in a row. That's very neat. Very, very neat. Or rather, you can roll into the thing that you already got. Okay, who's missing? I think it's missing. I will full clear, just because I can. Maybe grab the shawl. Armor is very, very useful, right? Blades, maybe as well? I don't know, it's kind of hard. I think, yeah, blades could be very valuable due to Akasim's Aerial Cloak. Then I'll grab the shawl as well afterwards. I'll just have to full clear, i.e. finish the mini-boss fight. Okay, definitely don't want to waste this dash, as it deals contact damage even when touching enemies. That means it's gonna be gone very quickly, but also very powerful. I can clean an entire room with that. Okay, do the cactus. Gun it is. Hit both of them. Try and maximize the use of our abilities. Claymore. That would be very powerful, but I got very good abilities. I'll just grab the shawl real quick. and then move on. I'm full on artist, but I can still drop the mirror at any given time, as well as the key, which is not super impactful either. You just spam abilities. Just take a look at them, try and stack up signature. Work around the evasion. Very powerful signature, I like that one a lot. Wind Slash, very, very strong. Think we are done here. So let's move on. Of course, I could look at more abilities, but I don't care since all of them are randomized, and I can't find any Chaos abilities, to my knowledge, from the cardist. I don't see why Aberrant deck would change anything about that, so I'm not even going to trade there and wait the time necessary. Okay. It's a little late for more keys. Whoops. I'm not liking these a lot. Tapping Gloves is the only viable damage option there. So, not sure. Tapping Gloves makes things even more complicated. Just much more complicated. Oh, yep, shoot. Then don't. Just die silently, that works too. Hello, Exit. How are you doing? I think our ability pool right now is pretty solid. Okay, it has now gotten a whole lot better. And even more solid. Okay, it's kind of hard to dodge all of this. I'm not frozen, surprisingly. Wow. Okay. Neat. Keep in mind that the final blast of whatever this Jackie Chan ability is called, Burn Cycle, actually is large AoE. It can even cover entire pits. Oh shit. I pressed it twice, the rebounding icicles, because I had multiple charges. Bad mistake. Abuse the fuck out of my friend. His seems Eric Cloak. Plus the blade. Radiant Blast, that's kind of tough to use. I lost a lot of health there, but I could also gain back a fair amount due to the sheer amount of armor, etc. that I got going. Okay, this is always stupid. Always want to catch all of the lancers, as they are easily much faster than you when breaking free from a maelstrom, and they will always hit you, guaranteed. You have to catch all of them, or one of them will break through. Tracer Barrage. I still got the Burn Cycle now. I got a very powerful signature, but it's off the fire element, so at least it's ranged though. Let's fight over here for now. Icicle, huh? So you're back after selling me. Such a dirty fashion. You traitor. Okay, definitely using my Field Berserk here. Gotta watch. And then Zephyr out of it. Cool. I actually did it. I got Cleaver now. Another charge-based ability, so we all know how that went last time around. Oof! I'm surprised he didn't hit me there. What a long way for the Arcana store. So unnecessary. Unnecessary punishment. What did I deserve that for? Come on. I just want red. I assume it's up here. Indeed it is, but it's only Kremar. Which is okay. So I can at least sell the key. Can't sell the mirror as it breaks immediately. So I'm still better off actually speculating for Mimic. I don't know how I would find that Mimic. I think that's incredibly unlikely to impossible. Literally impossible, but you know, I'll just keep my orange for now. Nerite Shell. I can sell that as well. It doesn't affect Sura, so it's not gonna be Very helpful there at all. As I said, typing gloves is just too clunky, too difficult to use with this initial condition from Aberrant deck, so I would much prefer not using it at all. To be totally frank with you, I'm not sure that the... Whoop, wrong ability I meant to use. Oh my god, what's going on? I meant to use Zephyr. I'm not sure that the... What's it called? The Nocturnal Sundial is even working out. Or maybe it is. Do abilities have a cooldown when they change? I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether Sundial actually does anything for this build. If it actually turns out... Oh, yeah, it does. Okay, it does work. Cool, never mind. I'm a genius. We gotta keep Seismic in my FO. Oh my god, I can't even tell. It's so hard. In my field of view. My FOV. That's kind of a hard abbreviation right now. I'm amazed that it doesn't vanish. Probably because it doesn't count as actually finished. Okay. Do we move on? Do we sell? I don't think we have a lot to sell. We got 2 spots left here. We full cleared. Yeah, let's just move on. I don't see any reason to buy any of that crap. Okay, we should probably activate our Seekers here, but who cares? We don't need to. We're gonna be fine without them. Oh, come on. We both know that wall is not gonna last long enough. Flowers, flowers everywhere. Okay. Agent. Projectile. Just dash around. I'm literally not looking at the game. I'm just looking at my inventory right now. You could say that I'm playing this blind. Not sure I would. I just refuse to look, in a way. Ooh, that felt good. That jump felt neatly timed. I want to keep the Bolt Pinball for phase 2 Sora, but I'm not sure I'm actually going to be able to. I don't think so. I'll just use it. Just let it go to waste. What is going on? Episode finale and Dragonfall. Oh my god, the damage. We are gonna demolish him early on. Okay. Wanderer's Mechanism? Yes. Claws of Termo. That's just crit chance. Not sure I want that. Albert's Formula. Receive Signature Charge when healed. Can I heal during the fight? Yes, I can. Absolutely, I can with the regenerative powers of Blades of Sympathy plus Catalytic Tonic. I can generate a shit ton of signature when comboing off. I should drop the Idealist Mirror and just grab the Claws of Termor for slightly extra crit chance. as the mirror literally does nothing for me at this point. Okay, I'll just start things off with whatever, really. Just go for it. Just don't go heroic lead right away. And you should be good to go. Well, okay. Certainly gonna be a lot harder. To watch my Arcana bar here. Okay, Kasim's is on cooldown, everything is on cooldown, I'm kind of fucked. Don't freeze me, daddy, please. Ouch. Oh shit. Oh my god, that worked? Until I walked back into it. No, 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 no. No, wrong button! Okay, I'm fucked. I'm fucked! It's so close! The lasers killed me! Oh, that was so freaking close. I feel like I really didn't get very lucky with my Arcana there. I had a lot of very clunky to use Arcana, like Grasping Earth, you can still see it, or the Arc Sphere, the Storm Entourage, whatever the hell it's called. Obsidian Splitter, again, I think that was twice over the course of the entirety of the boss fight. Barely got any high damage, easy to use stuff. Then heroic leap, heroic plays. Like, these jumps may be very good in a controlled environment, but when they are entirely randomized, you don't know when they're coming. It's just so spontaneous that you decide to use them, so you easily screw up. Oh man, a lot of very clunky stuff. The Hammer of Atlas as well there as my signature, and then it got replaced by Arc Sphere, whatever the hell it's called. That's very, very bad damage-wise. But nonetheless, I think I put up a decent fight, and I certainly had a great time. I'm back in the lobby here, unfortunately, not in the victory screen. That's kind of unfortunate. Either way, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you had a great time. I certainly did. I'm definitely going to play another one of these runs. I am surprised I even got this far in the first place. I got quite smoothly through the third dungeon, surprisingly enough. I definitely would have expected a lot more trouble there, but yeah, that was quite fluid. I loved it. Absolutely fantastic. Super fun. Brilliant run. Huge gem investment, however, keep in mind that you have to spend like, what, 25 per item, and then 20 for the gold, because who in their right mind would play without the extra gold right away? I feel like that's just a prerequisite for runs like these. Pretty much considered to be a randomized run, or fully randomized run. I love it. It's such fun. So, you know how it goes. You know how it is. Everybody has to say bye-bye at some point. I wish you all a good morning, a good day, or a good night, wherever you are. And until next time, I'll just take this portal. Bye-bye.